The thing that makes Unity Electric more unique than other companies is the fact that we are a soup to nuts provider. So we're a design build contractor. We do everything from plugs, switches, lights, all the way to access systems, security cameras, nurse call, fire alarm, networking. We do everything that you could possibly want that has to do with electricity and wires in your building.
It allows us to be a very competitive price point for a complete turnkey installation. There's no need to have multiple subcontracts on a job. It gives our general contractors a really clear and clean billing angle. Because we're design build, we're not a change order generating company. Our price up front typically is right there with our end price. So rarely do we ever get major scope additions that even cause us to write a change order.
My favorite thing about Spectrum now is the functionality of all the different modules that you can use at one time, and the way that you are able to act within Spectrum as almost a browser instead, so that you can jump from work order into AR and preview your invoice, and then you can edit it, and you're not jumping back and forth having to navigate from a sitemap to get from module to module. That now when I'm progress billing something, I can jump in between the screens, and my efficiency has just driven so high.
Version 14 provided us with the opportunity to use what they call data exchange. And the data exchange is simply taking an Excel spreadsheet and being able to upload it into our system. That's provided a lot of help for us, especially in the HR area where we may have a change in our benefit cost per employee. We're simply able to identify that in an Excel spreadsheet and then simply upload it into the system. Whereby before, that person would have to sit there and possibly make 100 different entries on 100 different screenshots, and as a result, that saved us a lot of time.
The professional services group is the group that helps you to implement Spectrum in the first place, and then post-implementation, we're the group that works with you kind of down through the years to make sure that you're getting the maximum use out of Spectrum.
Regarding the support within Dexter and Chaney, it's actually been a really positive experience with Unity Electric. We work specifically with Kirk, and the trainings with him have been extremely beneficial and worthwhile and worth the time and money that went into it.
One of the things we really like to do is listen carefully to make sure that we understand what you're trying to accomplish before we go and try to propose a solution or answer your question. We want to make sure we've heard what you're really trying to do and answer that.
We were able to ask him not only the questions to things that were difficult and we couldn't figure out how to do. I was able to sit with Kirk and show him the way I used to do something, and he was able to show me more efficient ways to do them.
It's kind of interesting that, when you're dealing with some of the people from the operations side, we can all have a common link when we look up the data in Spectrum. Because then suddenly they'll see that Spectrum does provide us the opportunity to see what their employee crew mix is going to be and what the cost is going to be, so that if we were to take one particular individual out, that cost may change. And when you're dealing with several thousand hours, it can make a significant difference as far as the overall performance of that particular project.
I utilize Spectrum in the field quite a bit, a lot with foremen. I like to get them out on a job, we'll walk it, see where they're at, see where the job's at, and then I'll pop open Spectrum on my tablet and we'll take a look at it, and I can show the foreman in real time where we stand, how many hours he has left, how many hours that he's used to date, so we can kind of evaluate the project, where we're at, and figure out if we need to make manpower changes or what we need to do to make sure that the project's successful.
They've stayed ahead of the technology on what needs to be done out there. I've worked with other systems, and I can tell you that there's other systems that are nowhere near where Dexter Chaney is at this point. Normally they would have a couple, 2, 3 people doing what I do, and with this system, it allows me to be able to focus on other things on my job and not be so administratively tied down.
I can tell you from my perspective what Dexter Chaney has shown over the years on a repetitive basis is the response to input from their customers. In other words, we've given input on different modules and how we'd like to see them, and every version that comes out seems they've listened to not just our feedback, but feedback from other companies and altered the software or the version to help with those solutions.